Hi there, Transformational Coaching with Dr. Carol, checking in for a tip on NNS. Do you know what NNS stands for? Non-nutritive sweeteners. So I was at church yesterday making my cup of tea, and they had all the selections of all the various types of sweeteners there, generally speaking. See if you can see these here. We have the blue packet, we have the pink packet, we have the yellow packet, and then we have a packet of regular sugar. So if you were me, Dr. Carol, which one of these sugars would you choose if you had to use a sweetener of some sort? Which one do you suppose I would choose? I actually would choose the real sugar. And I'm going to tell you why. So let's start with the blue packet, which is known as Equal. Also, the name for that on the label is aspartame. Aspartame has been around for years and years and has been studied over and over and over again to be it's a carcinogenic neurotoxin. So in other words, it causes cancer in our blood, especially like leukemia, lymphomas. It's associated with all forms of cancer. It's neurotoxic in that it overstimulates the neurotransmitters in our brain, creating this neurotoxicity, which is associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. It also is known to create headaches and migraines. 75% of the side effects and complaints from artificial ingredients, if you will, that are reported are associated with aspartame. What does that tell you? I was a Crystal Light addict back in the day, years ago. This was back in the early 1990s. I used aspartame right and left, and I was having horrible headaches. When I discovered this fact and I stopped the Crystal Light, my headaches immediately ceased. Curious if you have had any experience with aspartame. Put in the comments below. The other thing that the aspartame does is it destroys your gut bacteria. And what does that mean? That leads to inflammation. What does inflammation mean? That leads to all forms of chronic disease, because inflammation is now associated with all forms of chronic disease, whether it's cancer, heart disease, autoimmune disorders. So that's why I would not choose this one. The next one is Splenda, also known as Sucralose. It can raise your blood sugar if you're a diabetic and watching your blood sugar. It's 400 to 700 times sweeter than sugar. And studies have shown that it actually promotes fat accumulation. I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of people are using it is because they don't want fat, right? The other thing is this really is a form of sugar that's gone through all sorts of chemical processes, not the least of which it's bleached with chlorine. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm doing my best to avoid chlorine in my water and in my food. So, one packet probably not going to kill you, but if this is something that you're consuming over and over again, it gives pause to consider, is there a better choice? Then we have the pink packet, also known as Saccharine. And I think, golly, I sure hope all of you know by now, this literally is like rat poison. It is associated with so many forms of cancer. I'm inviting you all to do your own research. I'm just sharing you what little bit I know about these. There's lots of information out there. One of my go-to gurus, again, is nutritionfacts.org with Dr. Greger. How Not to Die is a book that he wrote. Someday maybe I'll share that with you here. He also has a recipe book that's a wonderful resource in my household. And then also, oh gosh, my mind's drawn a blank. Nutritionfacts.org. Oh, and PCRM.org. They have a search feature where you can put a keyword. So you can put Saccharine, you can put Sucralose, you can put Aspartame and see what you get. All right, so obviously sugar, if I'm going to consume sugar, which does have effect on my blood sugar, which ultimately in overconsumption can lead to all forms of problems in my body too, not the least of which is diabetes, cardiovascular disease, things like that. But if this was the only other choice, this is what I would choose. Of course, if there's raw cane sugar, which is minimally processed, and organic is even better, and some places do have raw cane sugar, that would be my choice. However, here at my house, what I choose, whoops, wrong one, is actually stevia. Stevia comes from a plant in South America that has a long name I'm not even going to try to pronounce here. I've been using stevia for a long time. It doesn't have any effect on your blood sugar. It is now generally approved as a safe product in America and has been for years, for a long time. Back when I first started it was not. It's considered a supplement, not really a sugar. And the thing with stevia is you want to get as close to the pure form as possible. I should have grabbed it and I didn't. We have this great big bag that we get from Amazon from a company called, I think it's micronutrients.com. And we get pure, organic, non-GMO stevia where a little bit goes a long way because it's very pure form. And that's what we use here at home. When I'm on the road and traveling, then I purchase this organic stevia. We get ours from Vitacost, where the list of ingredients here is the stevia, but the carrier in it is erythritol, again from non-GMO, organic, non-animal sources, and it is just used as a carrier. So this is what I would choose to use. Now, ideally, I would love to get to the place where I don't need any of them. I have to say I've not arrived at that place because unfortunately, all of these, and maybe even stevia, the verdict is still not out on this, but all of these lead to you wanting more. You've heard of the sweet tooth, right? Anybody have a sweet tooth? There's a lot of science showing that when you overuse these, that your body just continually craves more. And while a little might be okay of the stevia or the sugar, a lot, I can't say that I can put my seal of approval on that. So curious what your experience is with these various forms of non-nutritive sweeteners, NNS. All of these except for the sugar, all of these are considered NNS forms of sugar. So I'm curious what your experience has been, what you know, and what would you choose? Oh my goodness, I just now noticed that I see some comments going on. Facebook Live changed some things where I can see the comments live now, and I never used to be able to. So Marianne, I see your question about what are my thoughts on organic maple syrup. I'm sorry I didn't even mention any of the other alternatives. Of course, there is, you want to get the darkest, richest form of maple syrup, organic, of course, in moderation. It will affect your blood sugar, so if you're diabetic, that can be a concern. But if you're just looking for a weight loss, I do use maple syrup for cooking sometimes. Honey is another potential one. And of course, you want to get local honey. And why do you get local honey? You guessed it. I know some of you are out there putting in the answers in there right now. Because it has local has the helps to build your immune system because the pollen has whatever local antibodies, or I can't remember, I'm not getting the right word right, but there are when we get the local, we're actually helping to build our immune system for whatever is in our area that could be a potential allergen for us. So local, unfiltered, and raw honey, or dark, pure, organic maple syrup. So those are a couple other possibilities as well. All right, so I think I'm going to check out for now. Wow, it's been almost 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If you have an experience with one of these, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Again, I'm not claiming to be 100% an expert on this. I'm just telling you what I know. All right, Dr. Carol checking out. Thank you so much and look forward to the next time. Bye-bye.